wife and children. He bears the scars of a bullet wound and a machete wound behind him. And at the end of the day, people are constantly asking why, which is why I was so upset when the president said, reconcile and talk. How do you reconcile with people who are intent on killing? They don't make any demands. They're not saying you wronged us in any way. They're just coming after families, after women, after children, after men, and killing them indiscriminately. Those are the people you want them to sit across the table from and reconcile?
I'm just wondering what needs to happen. You know, when you see devastation this close, you know, it's so different. It's so easy because we are the ones that cover the stories. We see it. And now, literally, it feels like you can touch it. And you are wondering that what needs to happen for the government to take a decisive action. Are we, well, what can I say? If how many years after we're still looking for the girls in Sambisa Forest, we can't find them in this same Nigeria. And we're now saying that the security operatives needs to do something to protect the lives of people. That is part of what government does for its people. Protect the lives and properties of these people. The devastation that the people of Benue, especially in these communities, Yewata, are faced. You can't bring back children. I doubt if there's any restitution that the government can give them that can bring back their children. But it's not just what has happened. It's what needs to happen for them to continue to be able to live lives with and feel safe. Yeah. The IDP camps are overcrowded. When overcrowding happens, you know, of course, disease, epidemics, those kinds of things, lack of shelter,
and for how
atrocities, education.
For how long is the IDP camp? How long?
If it's been there for 20 years.
IDP camps in Benue, some of them have been there for 20 years.
And it's supposed to be a temporary thing.
Temporary
it's supposed to be a makeshift. It's supposed to be a stopgap to something else. But it's as if it's just been abandoned and forgotten about. Why?
And most times we see these things as far from us until it starts to trickle into other cities, other towns. Benue State is not far from where I'm from. It's not far from Abuja, the FCT. It's only a matter of time. I'm not saying that it will happen, but it's only a matter of time before you start seeing these kind of issues in places that you never expected. And it's so gut-wrenching how intentional these attackers were or are in wiping out families.
Communities and villages.
Communities and villages.
You know what it is? Like you watch your family pass away in front of you.
Today is a challenging day. Let me just prepare you for the stories we still have ahead. You can watch the News Central Town Hall at 11 a.m. on DSTV 422, GoTV 23, and Star Times 274, and all of our social media platforms. We will be streaming live there for you to watch if you're unable to sit in front of a TV. This is a conversation that must be had, and News Central is committed to facilitating open dialogue to foster accountability, reconciliation, and lasting peace. We'll take a break now, but when we come back, imagine spending 26 years on death row for supposedly stealing a generator. The details after this.
Welcome back to Jasiri. You can watch us live on all our social media platforms. We are at News Central TV. Now, I don't know, we have some heavier days than usual on Jasiri, and today I think is one of those heavy days. So, this case of Ogbonnaya Igbojionu, he's a man who spent 26 years on death row in Kirikiri prison for a crime many say he never committed. His recent release is a moment of relief, but also a sobering reminder of the deep cracks in Nigeria's justice system. When justice fails or arrives too late, what does accountability look like? In our courts, our communities, and our country. Now, here's what we know. A viral post, recent of course, by @Ozondiozo brought attention to Igbojionu's case, noting, in quote, after spending 26 years on death row, Ogbonna has finally been reunited with his family, end of quote. This started way back in 1999 when Igbojionu, 22 years at the time, bought a generator from a man identified as Segun Ajibade.
And that was the beginning of what turned into a nightmare. Now, he sold the generator, but a few weeks later, Ajibade returned with the police and claimed that the generator was stolen. Both of them were arrested, with Igbojionu saying he was beaten and forced to sign a statement he couldn't read. Convicted and remanded, he was sentenced to death in 2003 for allegedly buying stolen property and sent to Kirikiri's death row. Now, Segun Ajibade, who had sold him the generator, apparently walked free in 2016 after receiving a pardon from the Ogun State governor. Igbojionu and the others were implicated, including a technician, Kolawole Oladeji, who was a technician, appealed to the Court of Appeal, but according to the story, were misled into withdrawing it with false promises of a pardon that never came.
It was TikToker Olumide Ogunsanwo who brought the story to public light. Now, Simon Oshi from Enugu saw the post, visited Kirikiri with lawyers, and confirmed Ogbonnaya's Abia route. He then reached out to Abia Governor Alex Otti, who sent the Abia State Attorney General to verify the case and coordinated with Lagos and Ogun State authorities, and also to secure the release of Igbojionu, Olawale Adedeji, and another inmate on July the 6th, 2025. Igbojionu, now 48 years old. He went to jail when he was 22. Has reunited with his mother after 26 years. Videos of their embrace went viral, a bittersweet moment of joy and pain. Igbojionu thanked Governor Otti for giving him another chance at life. Kolawole Oladeji, the technician, was also freed. Governor Otti promised to support Igbojionu and Oladeji's reintegration into society.
My name is Seeking. I have good news for everyone. These are my men right here that have been in prison since 1999 because of the case of generator. They are here. Big shouts to Honorable Simon Oshi. He made it happen with the help of the governor himself, Dr. Alex Otti. Big shouts to you wherever you are, sir. We really appreciate you. So this right here is one of them, and this is the second one. And don't forget, there are three. The third one has been released. Is in Ogun State. He has been released out. These are the ones I met in Kirikiri myself, and they are out.
Okay. A big thank you to Governor Otti, Simon Osho, and I think the TikToker as well, who brought attention to this case. Thank you for the support you're going to give. What does reintegration look like for a man who went to jail at 22 and came out at 48?
You know, the justice system, I have done a lot of prison evangelism myself, visiting the prisons. It's the stories there. There's no time that you would go that a piece of you would not leave it there because your humanity is affected. And the terrifying thing is that a lot of people are in jail awaiting trial. You know, if your trial was concluded, you would say, oh, you got a sentence. But a lot of them are there and they've not even heard your case. If that is bad enough, how about if you now say, okay, I want to engage the services of a lawyer and they can't find your file?
Okay, so let me get this straight. So for 26 years, they've been in prison. And for 26 years, nobody, I don't understand. Nobody said anything. Nobody raised an eyebrow. It's generator, they said that. So how does stealing a generator translate to death row?
To death row.
There are several things. So part of it, there was a point in time, I think they applied for clemency or review of the case, and apparently somebody misled Igbojionu in particular to say if he withdrew that appeal, that they would get the clemency. That didn't come to be. And I don't think that for 26 years, nobody raised it. It's just that this is where we are, social media. So Lolo raises a point, you raise a point. Why is the penalty for receiving stolen property death row, death in Nigeria? Yeah. That's one thing. Secondly, you buy a generator from someone you think is legit. Yeah. The man comes back a few weeks later and says that it's you that you stole it or you stole it together, that you received stolen property. And you're trying, and then even the technician, Kolawole Oladeji, who's the technician, Igbojionu gave him the generator to fix. He did not know anything. He was just to fix the generator, repair it, so that Igbojionu could use it after he had bought it from somebody.
So the people around there who were eyewitnesses didn't witness anything. You know, guys, because I'm just trying to understand the gravity of the nonsenses that we encourage with the legal. You know, you're a lawyer. I don't understand. I don't understand.
When you see matters,
if he weren't the governor of Abia, if he weren't the governor Oti, for example, if he weren't this TikToker, these people would still be languishing in prison.
When you go to court, sometimes they will tell you that, oh, you can't hold someone beyond 48 hours. Is it not in this same Nigeria that you will see people who has been in police custody for 3 weeks, more than a month, and they have not even been given the opportunity? If you don't have money, I doubt if you will not be circumvented or submerged under so many irregularities.
People have been replaced for others in this same Nigeria.
Allegedly.
And because
plenty of times.
The fact that it takes a TikToker, and I think this is not the first instance where someone just sees a story and follows it through, and within few weeks and months it's resolved. So it can be resolved, and these people are languishing there.
For what?
So Lolo talked about waiting trial. We have more people waiting trial in Nigeria than people who are actually convicted and in prison as convicts. But if you notice something about waiting trial, some people will await trial longer than if they had actually been convicted and sentenced than the actual sentence they would have received, because they're awaiting trial. And then I always ask, I come back to the judges, if the police comes and tell you they've lost a file, even depending on the type of crime it is there no punishment for prosecutorial either misconduct or a level of injustice that leaves somebody languishing in jail for a minor non-violent crime? And that is 26 years. What if his mother had died? What do you want to tell?
That is why when I commend Lagos State sometimes that we need to move the judicial. No, Tolu, in Lagos State now, at least they are digitizing. Look at some of these cases. Imagine you are still carrying file that rats can eat, that cockroaches can come on, that water can fall on, that fire can consume. But if it is digitized, at least you know that your files are in a secure place where somebody can type your name and the details of whatever happened. But when they cannot find, it becomes speculation.
You know, this is the one that I don't like. I don't want to say, as Nigeria says, may it not be my portion. Listen, it's way beyond me. It's way beyond it. I think also it behoves on us individually to seek, to get information. I don't know, information is free. We need to be aware. It doesn't make any sense.
I know it's painful to say. Is it not in this same country, on this table, that we treated a boy, that somebody that just had power?
Because you sent him a text message resigning.
And he was in prison for, is it not a year?
Yes,
or more?
And I will never stop talking about the rehabilitation of terrorists. And then
amnesty.
You weigh it with a stolen generator. We have misplaced priorities, because why is somebody, let's even assume they stole the generator, on death row, and then on the other hand we are rehabilitating people who have taken thousands and hundreds of lives. What kind of country are we living in?
We're a country that puts the cart before the horse. Governor Oti says, I'm going to be instrumental in their reintegration into society. Okay, let's take a look at the 26 years. Who pays for the damages?
Can we comprehend what he went through mentally? Physically.
Look at that grown man.
Fear, human rights violations. Who compensates him for the loss of what he could have been?
You come out at 40, Guinea.
Look at that man. Look at his mother. His mother is so old that she probably might not even comprehend what is happening.
The mother is,
he might even be the breadwinner of the family at that time. See him now, a grown man.
And there's also, you know, sometimes when our governors are celebrating the anniversaries of their inaugurations, they do this amnesty.
Pardons.
I'm never one of those who claps for it. Why? Because this is something that should be happening year-round. I don't know why we pay lip service to it. I remember a few years ago, I can't remember, it wasn't under Tinubu, maybe around one of the terms of Buhari, there was a conversation around judges, particularly, as you said, Lagos, going to prisons, visiting on a monthly basis to look at cases. And in some cases saying, free them. Where are we on that? So how can a country, we're spilling blood in every part of this country. We're keeping people in jail awaiting trial. Some of them for crimes, convicted of crimes they didn't commit. How do we expect Nigeria to be good? Because it might sound, I'm going to lie with how Catherine often feels. There's too much blood that has been spilled in this country. There's too much injustice that we don't attend to in this country for the country to be right until we do what is right.
Honestly.
Do you know, and this looking at cases, it's not hard though. Take a week and sit down like
if
they do town.
If they commit, let's say 2 judges, if they commit 2 judges that, okay, for the next 1 year, stay on this prison and check out all their waiting trials, you will see that our prison will be decongested. And if they do it across the nation, you find out that so many people, let a mobile court sit in the prison.
Do you know,
Here matters. Oh, where is your file? We can't find it. Who was in charge? Who was in charge of your arraignment? Who was the person who investigated? How did the case file get lost? If they are prosecuted too,
what is the consequence for the police in this? For the prosecution?
That will tell you they can't find the file.
Unfortunately, very soon, indecent dressing will be added to this.
Oh my dear, maybe Delta State now will start racking up people and putting them in prison for indecent dressing, and they will get death row.
Overflowing already. In the same prison, where is our priority as a people, as a country? Our lawmakers are there. Where are our heads in this country? Little things, okay, we expect that the big things are not happening. How about the little things that don't cost anything?
And this man that stayed 26 years, he might not have any skill, particularly, because our prison system, even though they're reforming, they're rehabilitating.
They change names. They say it's now Nigerian Correctional Service.
Correctional Service.
Change of name?
Have you been in? I have been to Kirikiri more than 10 times. Sometimes you are wondering that, where is the rehabilitation?
Where is the correction here?
Where we went, they just had a chapel. The chapel is their all-purpose hall for every single thing. And it's not like, it's... Maybe I haven't been to cricket in the last maybe 5 years.
Yeah, so
maybe there might be changes that I'm not aware of. But as at the time I went, it was still a dingy hall. It wasn't like he had modern anything in it for them to say, they use this for training, they use it for training. Many of these things are lip service. The people that really help are NGOs. They're the ones that go. And now, even when you take stuff to the prison, sometimes it won't get to the people that need it. Because half of it will be put in the covers. And that's NGOs are doing a lot to help. But you can't see it. It's like a drop in an ocean. And because people that are even circumventing what NGOs are bringing is a lot. And I'm just wondering that what needs to happen for this country to do the right thing. Mr. President, sometimes, I don't know, maybe sitting on a position makes people forget their humanity. And the people that are supposed to be their foot soldiers, that the president can't possibly see everything. No. Even local government chairmen. These are some of the things they should do because they are closest to the grassroots. But many of them, once they win council, local government election, once they win like this, they will pack their bags and packages and leave the area where they are elected.
Okay. I'm going to have to apologize because the stories are not getting any better, and I'm sorry. But this is Jasiri. We have to tell the truth. We have to tell the truth.
The whole truth.
Yes, and nothing but the truth. So up next on Jasiri, Mushin isn't just a headline. It's home for thousands of people who deserve safety, who deserve stability and dignity. But after violence that seems to have been normalized, will the arrests and officials who have been summoned lead to real change or just more reactive policing? We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll look deeper into what's fueling this violence and what it will take to truly end it. You're watching Jasiri. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Jasiri, where we go beyond headlines and uncover the forces shaping our communities. So on today's show, we turn our attention to Mushin, Lagos, where renewed cult violence has rekindled fear, anger, and demands for accountability. So in recent days, Lagos State Police arrested 52 suspected cultists in Mushin ahead of the notorious 7/7 Cultism Day, deploying special squads to dismantle any planned attacks. In June, the Lagos State House of Assembly had summoned the Commissioner of Police, the Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, the Commissioner for Budget and Economic Planning, and the Commissioner for Education to explain the surge in cult clashes involving underage gang members, pushing for both a clampdown and prevention programs. So, to help us make sense of what's happening on the ground, joining us is Israel Eferobo, News Central's correspondent who's been covering the situation in Mushin. Israel, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. There's so much to talk about, to unpack.
Hi, I can imagine.
Right into it.
Wow, Mushin is so close to me because I grew up in Isolo and it's just like yin and yang. You've been on ground. I know you've seen a lot of stories. What's the mood in Mushin like? You know, there's always been fear. Yeah. But what is the fear, how would I say the fear quota, or how high or how low? And is the police actually cracking down and trying to restore some kind of normalcy, or is just, everything is just like giving us hoax and nothing is being done? Because Mushin from time, if you're looking at the history, you say it's always at the hub of anything violence. If you're thinking violence, before you mention 2 or 3 areas, you'll be mentioning Mushin. And I've been particularly, if I've not seen 5, I'm all through my years, I must have been in 6 skirmishes in Mushin, where when you want to pass, everybody has to remove their shoes and put it up to be able to pass. And I've at a time walked from Mushin all the way to Isolo because some kind of violence was happening there. Can you give us a little bit of what's happening presently?
Oh, well, let me start off from your last question, which is what is the sense of what's happening right now? Well, right now in Mushin, people are scared, people are afraid, but this fear and this scare that they face on a daily basis is now a norm. So they know that at any point in time, anything can happen. So they are well aware of that fact. And that's just sad for the people there. I spoke to a gentleman here in Mushin, and what he said was there's no governance, there's no government in Mushin, there are no laws, nothing basically. So
what, Mushin is the wild, wild west?
Well, if you want to put it that way, you know, but then again, it's not all sad and gloomy right now. The police are cracking down, you know, so they declined to speak to the press for a bit. We couldn't get across to them, and that was because they were working hard to see how the issues in that area can be resolved. Yes, in the last couple of weeks, after the recent clashes there, the police in Lagos State, they have cracked down. I mean, I was there, and unannounced, the Commissioner of Police, CP Olondare Jimo, came there, and we're having meetings with his top commanders. I mean, the area commander for Mushin was there, you know, the PRO was there, Hyundai, they were all there, and they were having a really serious meeting. After that, a few days later, there was heavy crackdown on people who are suspected to be fueling the violence in Mushin. 2 names always come up for the people I speak to, whether they are gangs, or whether they are cultists, whether they are just individuals, we don't know. They keep mentioning Kesari and Idiaraba. You know, these are people, should I say people now, or just factions of street boys who have been at loggerheads for a very, very long time. And that's the thing. It's been happening for a very long time. It's not something that happened today. And the violence just keeps on going on. So it got to a head just last Wednesday when this 10-year-old boy was caught in the crossfire.
So before you move too far, because while we can agree that unfortunately for many Lagosians, we've heard of the violence in Mushin over the years. I remember even on radio, we used to hear about, and callers would call in and tell us people should avoid Mushin for now at this point. In terms of this recent violence, do we know what possibly catalyzed it? What might have sparked it off? Because it tends to seemingly ebb and flow. They'll be quiet, I won't say peace. They'll be quiet for a while, things are rumbling underneath, and then it comes out, it blows over for 2 or 3 days, and then it just so ebbs again. So what do we know about that, particularly in association with the 7/7 so-called cultism day as well?
So when you get to Mushin, no one would tell you in particular that this is about cults or cult clashes. You know, they've been very, very what's the word now? Careful, you know, not to target a cult clash, because I don't think it is. I don't think it is. It's almost like a street here on this side of Mushin is battling another street on another side of Mushin. So whenever they clash, I stepped on this man's toes, he stepped on my toes, there is a clash. and then small firearms and light weapons freely used in Mushin. That's another case
Where did
for
they
the police
come from?
to also. That's another story for the police to answer. That's a question for them to really answer and dig into. How do these people get access to light weapons and firearms in Mushin? So it's a really, really horrible situation in Mushin. A man said, that whenever he's coming back home, he always puts a call across to his people. Is it safe for me to return home today? Is it okay? Can I safely come back home? It's getting late. Do not return home. Stay where you are. That is the mood. That is the situation of the people living in Mushin. But like I said, the police authorities in Lagos State here, they are working really, really hard to ensure that it is brought to a halt, because in a place where you have issues like this, you can't hold elections. The people there cannot. You
said what?
You can't even hold elections.
Elections are holding on Saturday in Mushin.
But of course, it will. It will. But these are the fears of some people in the area. This is the pulse.
Election will hold.
Yes, it will hold.
How will those elections hold?
Because
who are coming out to? Who is coming out to vote?
It will hold because the police. Because the police. Oh, I see where you're headed now. But the police are working really hard to ensure that yes, everything that needs to be done for Mushin to be safe, they are indeed doing it. We had the commissioner of the PPR of Lagos State Police Command. He was here in the studio yesterday, and he did speak to these issues as well. He did say that yes, the police are clamping down on these people.
Yeah. Those are fancy words. It can be you can talk and say all the beautiful
and it sounds
words.
very ambiguous.
So not just fancy words, Catherine. Not as fancy words, because in the last few days they have been conducting what they call raids in Mushin, taking out all these bad eggs.
What happens when it sort of goes quiet? What happens after the election?
People forget, they relax. And then look at for example, would you, if you lost your child in a crossfire, just senseless, would you encourage anybody to get out there and vote? When you always say that elections are going to hold, the police is going to do what they have planned to do. Okay, we'll keep the place, in law and orderly as well. But if you lost someone tragically, would you even think of going out there or advising anybody to go out to vote?
Speaking about losing someone tragically, Tolu.
All right, so we're going to take a break before we get into that. A resident of Mushin lost his 10-year-old son in crossfire. We're going to hear how that happened. Stay with us.
Thanks for staying with us. It's still Jasiri, and we're still talking about the cultism issue in Mushin. And before we went on a break, we're talking about the actions that the police have taken. Are they actually taking actions, or are they just pouring water into a basket? But right now, the Lagos State Police Command Public Relations Officer Benjamin Hundeyi has reacted to some of the happenings in Mushin. I want to take a look at that before we continue the conversation.
Yes, sometime last week on Wednesday, yes, a child was killed. Following that, a raid was carried out in Mushin, and after background investigation, we were able to locate some of these miscreants, and a raid was carried out. 52 persons were arrested, 52 suspects. So we did further investigation on them, and the culpable ones have already been arraigned. As I speak to you, they've been arraigned. And this continuous work we're doing in Mushin to ensure that we rid that area totally of crime, criminality, especially cultism.
Now, in the midst of the violence that has happened, a father is grieving the death of his son. Israel spoke to Kudus Gold, the father of 10-year-old Wasu, who was killed in the crossfire of the clashes happening in Mushin. Take a look.
Mo ṣiṣẹ́ lọ bá mi dẹ̀ délé lálẹ́ mo dẹ̀ ní àwọn kan tí mo fẹ́ kó lọ get kódà ó ti ṣeré lọ lálẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ mi ń jẹ́ kó ọmọ mi rìn lálẹ́ tó bá ilẹ̀ bá iṣu mo ti máa sọ kó wọlé at least ọ̀rọ̀ tá à ń sọ ìbéyà bí after 7 sí tó 8 ni mo dẹ̀ lọ èmi fúnra mi lọ pè ń ta wípé kó wá lọ ra nǹkan wá so fúnra mi ni mo wá ń ṣe so bó ṣe lọ mo dẹ̀ sáré lọ sí ibi mosque tó wà lé ọ̀dọ̀ wa ọmọ ewé kọ́ mi mo rí àwọn èèyàn tí wọ́n pọ̀ wọ́n ṣáà ń sọ ọmọ kékeré lọ́mọ yìí so bí wọ́n ṣe rí mi wọ́n ṣáà ń jẹ àwọn ilé kan pé wọ́n má sọ̀rọ̀ mọ́ èmi náà wá dúró máa ń béèrè pé kí ló tún ṣẹlẹ̀ ṣé wọ́n tún ti ṣe ọ̀rẹ́ ṣe dàbí kéde àwọn ẹni ṣàjẹ́ àwọn lè kọ́ lọ bí mo pé èmi kọ́kọ́ ní ìkọ́ ti ṣe ìkọlù wọ́n ṣàwà fún mi pé bàbá wa sí ẹ̀jẹ̀ bá lọ ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ lọ àyọ bí bá dé iwájú lè bèèrè wò nìyẹn ibẹ̀ mo ti pé ikọ̀ ti ṣe mí ikọ̀ ti bà tèmi jẹ́ wọ́n ti ògo mi fún mi bọ́ọ̀ ló yẹ bá ti máa rí ọmọ mi ọ̀nà márùn ni ìbọn ti fọ́ sọ́mọ mi lára mi ṣe àyẹ̀yẹ pé báyìí ṣe tògo mi bó mi nìyẹn o. ètò ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ ó ti ṣẹlẹ̀ tipẹ́ láti bí inú àwẹ̀ ní kí ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ táwọn ìbìnrin ń jà tó ń jà. àwọn bí àwọn hooligans wọn ní késàrì wọ́n pè wọ́n késàrì wọ́n ṣàpè wọ́n ṣàǹtọ́ orúkọ wọn bákan débi pé wọ́n máa ń pọ̀ gan lọ́yìn máa ń sọ míì báwọn pàdé rí wọ́n náà pọ̀ gan tó ń dà lùú káàkiri nígbà wo dẹ̀ dá àárín kan bóyá bí last week àbí last 2 weeks àwọn ọlọ́pàá jáde nítorí a kà á nínú ìròyìn wípé ọ̀nà ibi yẹn kẹ́sọ̀ wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ẹ̀ ní House of Assembly so after then a rí pé àwọn ọlọ́pàá jáde wọ́n lé wọn díẹ̀ nígbà yẹn a sinmi díẹ̀ tí ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn lọlẹ̀ Súdìlì ló kọ̀ tó di gbàgbó láàtúrí àwọn ọlọ́pàá mọ́ fún bíi 2 days àwọn ọlọ́pàá ń ṣe rédì tó ń jáde fún 2-3 days after 2-3 days ààrẹ ọlọ́pàá mọ́ kí wọ́n kọ́ jáde kọ́ ṣe anything mọ́ láàrin ẹ̀ ni wọ́n tún bẹ̀rẹ̀ wàhálà ìpapọ̀ padà àmọ́ nígbà tí ẹ̀wọ̀n àwọn tí wọ́n ṣáà ṣe investigation ní ibi tó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ tí wọ́n ti yan mọ́ mi ládùúgbò yẹn wọ́n dá ọkọ̀ àwọn méjì wọ́n ní àwọn méjì yẹn àwọn ni wọ́n gbébọn wá sí ẹ̀wọ̀n àdúgbò yẹn wọ́n náà jì àti inspector làwọn méjì náà pọ̀ ọkọ̀ àwọn méjì ọ̀jí àti inspector wọ́n náà gbébọn wá náà wá yìnbọn bẹ̀ àwọn náà pa mí lọ́mọ àwọn náà ṣògo mi sómi o mi mọ ti fẹ́ gbé gbá o. láyé lóòótọ́ ohun tó wù mí tí mo fẹ́ ó ní pé kíjọba kọjọ tóun náà kò sí tó lè ṣe tó lè múnú mi dùn tí gbàlójẹ́ ẹ fi lè kó lẹ́bí mi àmọ́ àwọn tí wọ́n ṣe gílì mo fẹ́ kọ́ kó wọn ìdájọ́ tó tọ́ sí wọn kọ́ bá fi dá lórí wọn.
10 years old, he was shot 5 times. His father saw what no parent,
How is that?
His father saw what no parent should ever see. And I think we need to press it into the faces of those who are in charge. Let's put up the picture of the boy, his father. He has a younger brother. I think the younger brother is about 2 or 3. He looks about 2 or 3. And this 10-year-old is dead in Mushin. Tell me why. Tell me why.
And the people are named. The things that
crossfire can be fun.
The father cannot just say, these people know who the people that are doing these things. They know them. So it's not about just making a show of arrest. They are no unknown government. These are people that live around them.
But they don't. By
the time they know, ask one or two. The man mentioned names. But you will see that these boys, the police will get there, they said 52 people have been arrested. Check back in another 2 months. You will be sure that all these boys are back on the street.
Which is why we will be trying to follow up the story to get this to a logical conclusion. Are they being arrested? He just confirmed. The PPR just confirmed.
We need to know if these 2 people that were named are part of those who are arrested.
So you just mentioned something now. Names have been mentioned. Are they going after these people? That's the thing.
Has that ever solved anything? I mean, at the end of the day, we see them covering. I don't believe that these are, external powers. They're people from within. They're servicing a particular body. That's why they're able to wield weapons. How are they getting custody of guns, shooting guns? These are questions that should be answered. Where are they getting the guns from? Who are they working with?
Oh, by the way, during my investigation, I also saw a boy about 7 years old.
Yeah.
He also got caught up in the crossfire. He had, I don't think we have that visual right now. So it's not like 5 bullets, like you mentioned. It's not like 5 bullets. So the kind of guns they make use of.
Dane guns, all those local made guns.
So part of those petals or whatever it's called.
Pellets.
So it also touched this very little boy. I saw him. He was limping on the streets of Mushin when I got there. So it's beyond. So it's a whole lot. It is just a whole lot.
Wow, I wish we had more time, but what a day. Well, it's just, the stories are so heavy. What's happening in Mushin is more than a policing issue. It's a symptom of deeper neglect of broken systems that fail young people long before they could ever pick up a weapon. Today's conversation reminds us that arrests may be quiet, may have brought quiet to the streets for now, but they won't heal the wounds or fix what is broken. That takes intention, investment, and a commitment to see beyond crime, to see people and the pain behind it. For the families affected, for the youths being recruited, and for the communities caught in the crossfire, this is the time for action, not silence. I want to say thank you for joining us today. We will keep asking the questions that matter until the real change that we desire shows up. We'll see you again tomorrow.